Hello everyone, we are continuing to knit the sweater. This is the second part. Those who haven't started yet, the first part will be in the link below the video. If you are already knitting along with me, let's keep going. After extending the back, I knitted in stockinette stitch 23 centimeters. That is 57 rows straight. Now we will start incorporating the heart. First, we will do some calculations. I noted that I knitted in stockinette stitch 23 centimeters or 57 rows. In each row, I had 184 stitches. The height of the front, along with the ribbing, is 24.8 centimeters. This is about 25 centimeters or 72 rows. Now we need to determine the size of the heart. I took a look and measured with a measuring tape. I estimated that I need 25.5 centimeters in width and about 18 in height. Now we'll calculate how many stitches that will be. It's all elementary. We have our calculated gauge. We take 25.5 multiplied by bow. The number of stitches per centimeter. We calculated stockinette stitch in the last video. At the beginning of knitting, in width, we have 2 stitches per centimeter. I multiply the number of centimeters by 2 stitches. It results in 51 stitches. This number should be odd in order to correctly draw the heart scheme later, and for the height, the same applies. 18 centimeters multiplied by 2.8 rows. It results in 51 rows. Interestingly, I have the same number of stitches in rows. Yours may be different. After we calculated how many stitches we will have in width, and how many rows in height for the heart, what do? We take the total number of stitches we have on the needles and divide by 2. That is, we divide it into 2 semicircles. I end up with 92 stitches. So, there are 92 stitches for the front and 92 stitches for the back. We are now taking the front part of our sweater. From 92 stitches, we subtract 51 stitches for the heart. This gives us 41 stitches. These are the stitches we will have. They will be located on either side of the heart, right and left. 41 stitches are divided into 2 parts. This gives us 20 and 5/10 stitches each. Here on one side, there are 20 and 5/10 stitches. With a heart it also goes 20 and 5/10 stitches, but we need here for it to be a whole number, so I take 21 stitches each. Since this is a women's model, we can take a few more stitches for the front. Thus, I will have 21 stitches from the side marker to the front, then 51 stitches for the heart, and again 21 stitches to the side marker. So this is all for the front. Here I've written that there are 51 stitches for the front. This is the heart plus 42 stitches. There are 21 stitches on the right and left of the heart. In the end, I will have 93 stitches for the front. And for the back, I take the total amount and subtract the front, getting 91 stitches. So I have the front and back, and now we will evenly distribute the marker. Here's my back, and here is my marker that indicates the beginning of the row. I have not removed it while knitting. To see approximately where my row starts, the beginning of the knitting was here on the back, counting 30 stitches to the side. I will have the side part of my sweater. That means I need to place a marker here and here. Therefore, I counted 30 stitches from the start of my marker. Place the marker here. This is the side part of the sweater, meaning this is my back. I placed it, and I already counted all the stitches and added the marker here. Therefore, I have 91 stitches on the back. Accordingly, I recounted the front. I ended up with 93 stitches for the front. Everything is set with the markers, and in order to knit the heart, we need to move to the front part of the sweater. I have the back for lengthening. So I will now knit these stitches up to the side marker we will meet. Before knitting the heart, we need to create a template. I have placed my daughter's sweater down and will demonstrate on it for clarity. Generally, this is how we do it. We decide what size our heart will be. We draw it on a regular sheet of paper. I drew one half, folded the paper, and drew the second half to make it symmetrical. Then we cut out this heart. And this is the kind of template we end up with. We fold it in half. We place it on a squared sheet and mark the edges. So we found out how tall the heart will be in centimeters. In my case, 18-20 centimeters. We calculate from our knitting density how many rows we need for that height. In the resulting rectangle with our squares, we draw as many rows as we need, 51 rows. Similarly, we know how wide the heart will be in centimeters. We divide by 2, since it's half of the heart. My width is 25.5 centimeters, or I calculated 51 stitches based on my knitting density. We divide by 2. This is the number of stitches we need to mark with vertical lines. That is, in the resulting rectangle, we draw the required number of rows to achieve the desired height and the number of stitches to get the desired width. This way, we will have a rectangle with our squares. They will be slightly different sizes, not like these. Now we do not pay attention to this squared sheet. We focus only on our resulting squares in the rectangle. We place the heart on this rectangle and mark the square points like this. The template, while creating the heart template for my sweater, for a women's size, I did not draw these squares or the rectangle, but just adapted the children's sweater template. It was easier for me, so I directly drew the heart beautifully on these squares. It, as you can see, is much larger and a completely different size on the template, but I have drawn it like this for clarity. That is, I transferred from my cells to these cells to make it clearer for you. Now let's deal with the numbers I have written here. I did this so that there was no need to count the cells for the bindings, so we will knit the heart from the bottom to the top. Therefore, let's first clarify the height. My heart should be 51 rows tall. From the bottom to the top, I wrote from 1 to 51 rows. Here are my rows that I indicated. Yes, that's all in width. We have half of the heart on the diagram. So, 51 stitches will be used for the whole heart. In my calculations, I divided it in half. Since this is half of the heart, it will be 25 stitches. The 26th stitch is the center. I indeed have 25 stitches for the heart. And where I have these numbers written, that is the center of the heart. Here is the 26th stitch. That means I am writing the total number of stitches for the heart here. Here, a bit higher, there are already 24 stitches. The heart has 25 at the center, and here again there are 24 stitches. In total, there are 49 stitches. But I think you understood that as well. And here, this amount plus the same on the opposite side of the heart. Yes, and one central stitch. Here, I wrote down the total number of the heart in each row. Here, I also noted how many stitches I have in this row. I duplicated these numbers here. I wrote everything down. For example, here is 10, in the next row 12, and so on. The heart is clear. And these numbers show how many stitches I have in beige color. Here, up to the knitting of the heart. How many here? How many here? We will knit in beige color. And also here in each row, how many stitches need to be knitted in beige color. What does this stripe mean? I drew it to indicate where my knitting will switch to turning rows, that is, up to and including the 33rd row, I will knit in the round. And already in the 34th row, I will separate the back. So we will knit the back later, and first we will knit the front with turning rows. That is, this is where the underarm area begins. Here, we're already knitting, so to speak, the front. And here will be the sleeve. I think this is clear. And what are these percentages I marked for myself, and for your reference? Maybe someone will find it useful. In general, I took the entire height as 100%, and roughly calculated these parts of the rows in percentages. So 64 plus 36 will be 100% of the entire height of the heart. This is roughly for your reference, so you know approximately where my underarm area starts. It's a hint. Maybe it will be useful to someone. So you take your number of rows, your heart's height, and you count how many rows in 36%. Also, how many rows in 64%. But my underarm starts right here. Yours might be slightly shifted. And we also do not forget that in each row, before knitting this heart pattern, we will knit 21 stitches in beige color. So, for example, for the heart, right, we have 21 stitches here in my women's sweater, and 21 stitches here in the main color before knitting the pattern. According to my calculations, there will be 21 stitches here. The heart will be 51 stitches wide and again 21 stitches. This is regarding the front. We are not considering the back yet. By the way, I want to show you my template for the children's sweater. I am attaching it to the knitted heart. Look how much wider mine is compared to my template. I guessed the height almost perfectly, but the width of my knitted heart turned out a bit larger. So originally, I took the width of the heart to be 19 centimeters, and I ended up with 21 centimeters. The height is about 15.5 centimeters. This is for the children's sweater. The height really is around 15.5. Therefore, I probably had some inaccuracies with the density. In general, it's not that critical. But please keep in mind that your knitted heart may differ slightly from the template from Ardra. I hope you find the scheme easy to understand. If there are any simpler options for creating the diagram, please share them with me in the comments. I think many others would also be interested in learning something new. Now, we will knit the heart according to the scheme. We will be knitting in the round from the bottom up using INTARSIA. So, I have knitted to the marker. Here is the start of the front of the sweater, and I have knitted 21 stitches, which I will keep knitting until my heart. Next, we will follow the pattern. We knit from right to left. So our first row, we knit from right to left. Here we will need to knit 25 stitches in beige until we reach our contrast thread. After the same number of stitches, 21 stitches, I start following the pattern. I need to knit 25 knit stitches. Having knitted 25 stitches, I now need to knit 1 stitch with the contrast thread. I am taking the burgundy yarn. This will be the color of the heart. We knit 1 stitch according to the scheme. We leave a tail here to secure it later, and we knit 1 knit stitch with the new yarn. We have knitted, and are now turning the work. That means we will be working with rows back and forth. So, 1 row will be the front, and the other the back to create the techniques we need. We turn the work. From this point, we begin a new row. We transfer this new stitch back to the right needle. Without knitting it, we now need to cross these 2 threads. To continue with the main color, I place the maroon thread on top and the working thread underneath. I take the working thread like this, the maroon one here, and we knit with purl stitches. Here's our first stitch. We knit purlwise. I take my grandmother's method. Let's pull the maroon thread. Now we have one stitch in maroon color. Now we are essentially going back. We knit purlwise the front part first and then the back. I knitted up to this side marker with the contrast thread. I knitted the back and reached the next side marker. So now we begin to knit the front. I do not remove the side markers. This helps me see better. In fact, we are currently knitting the front solely with purl stitches. From the front, we have as usual on either side 21 stitches, so we knitted 21 stitches. And now, as I said, after turning the work, we start a new row. That means this entire purl row we just knitted is already our second row. In the second row, we have 24 stitches in beige color. This means after our main fabric of 21 stitches, we will knit 24 stitches. Then we should have 3 heart stitches. Thus, the old main thread, when we place it on top, we take the working thread. Like this we cross the threads, and now with the working thread, we knit 3 purl stitches. We're pulling the threads. The third purl stitch was knitted through the back loop. This is how we knitted 3 stitches. After that, we turn the work. We move on to the third row, we turn the work. Now these 3 stitches are moved to the right needle without knitting. Next, we start knitting with the main yarn using knit stitches. Here, we have burgundy yarn. We take the main yarn from underneath and continue knitting in the round with knit stitches. Here, we have knit stitches through the back loop. Since we have flat knitting, this will be our third row. Here, it turns out that the odd rows, we will knit with knit stitches, while the even rows will be knitted with purl stitches. So, we have the third row, and from the side marker, when we start to knit the front, we knit 21 stitches to our chart as usual. Then 23 stitches in the contrasting color in knit stitches. After that, we will knit 5 stitches in the burgundy color in the third row. So, from the side marker we start knitting the front. We knit 21 regular knit stitches. After that, 23 knit stitches through the back loop, we're done. In the third row, we have 5 stitches of the contrasting color. So we place the old working yarn on top. And from underneath, we take the new yarn that we will knit with now. We cross the old yarn like this, and now knit 5 knit stitches in burgundy. I hold this in my right hand. The working yarn is in my left hand on my fingers, and I knit 5 knit stitches. And here, the knit stitch goes through the front loop. We knitted 5 knit stitches and turned the work. The third row is finished. Now we move these stitches that we knitted in burgundy to the right needle without knitting. Now we knit with the main color and with purl stitches. We're starting to knit the fourth row. So, I've knitted up to the side marker. I have a front starting here. We are already knitting as usual 21 stitches before starting to knit the heart. 21 stitches have been knitted. In the fourth row, we should have 22 stitches in beige and 7 heart stitches. So, 22 purl stitches have been knitted. Now I need to knit 7 stitches in burgundy. I have 1 stitch that didn't get knitted. In principle, We can skip counting these stitches. Just knit up to the contrasting thread each time. We can simply visually estimate. There were 5. It needs to be made 7. So, we need to add 1 stitch from this side and 1 from the other. So, we knit with burgundy. Place the working yarn on top. We take the burgundy, cross over like this, and start knitting further with the burgundy. In purl stitches. And for the 7th, here we have a stitch like this. I knit the purl through the back loop. We knitted, that's it. After we knitted in burgundy, we turn the work and hung. We start our 5th row. After turning, we transfer all these 5 heart stitches to the right needle, without knitting them. Here, we've transferred them and we take this yarn of ours. The main one is right here. We start knitting the 5th row in knit stitches, so this is our 5th row. I knitted 21 stitches from the side marker. Next, we need to knit 21 stitches in beige. Then 9 heart stitches, last time I had 7. Now I need to knit 9, that is, add 1 stitch in burgundy here. Here we cross over the threads. We need to work in burgundy now. So, we drop the main color thread. We take the burgundy like this, and start knitting 9 stitches in knit. And the 9th stitch we knit through the front loop. We have completed our 5th row. We turn. Knitting, we transfer these 9 stitches to the right needle without knitting. Now we knit the 6th row entirely in purl stitches. We have transferred them, and we immediately have the working yarn here. We knit purl stitches in a circle up to this point, so friends, I knitted the entire 6th row in purl stitches. I reached the contrast yarn. Here is my side marker. So in the 6th row from the side marker, we normally knitted 21 stitches from the side marker. Then we need to knit 20 stitches in beige and 11 stitches for the heart. So now I need to cross the yarns and knit in burgundy. We always place the main yarn on top, while we take the working yarn from underneath when crossing the yarns, and it's advisable to pull them to avoid elongated stitches like the ones I had at the beginning of the knitting. But at the beginning of the knitting, you can use this tail to go through with a needle a little to check that everything looks nice on the front side, and to hide if something was not pulled tight enough. So we pull, cross, pull, and knit 11 purl stitches. The 11th purl stitch is knitted through the back loop, as it is twisted. We knitted all 11 stitches as the others and turned the knitting. We start knitting the 7th row. At the beginning of the row, we always transfer the knitted heart stitches to the right needle without knitting. And next here we will immediately have the main color yarn, Then we continue to knit. So we got tangled, and we continued to knit in the main color with knit stitches through the back loop. Again, we finished knitting to the contrast yarn. This is our 7th row. I have reached the front. This is my 7th row. I knitted 21 stitches and 19 stitches in beige. So in the 7th row, I should have 13 heart stitches. We cross the yarns, place the main color on top, and pull the burgundy yarn from underneath as usual. Yes, now I need to knit 13 knit stitches in burgundy. The 13th stitch is knitted through the front loop, since it is twisted here. We knitted 13 knit stitches and turned the knitting. We move on to the 8th row, turned, and transfer these 13 stitches, without knitting, to the right needle. We transferred, and then we knit purl stitches in the main color. Right here, our yarn remains. We knit in a circle to our heart. In the 8th row from the side marker, we knit 21 stitches, then 18 stitches in the main color. And as usual, I end up with one unknit stitch. Now I need to knit 15 stitches in burgundy color. Crossing the yarns, now we knit 15 purl stitches, 15 purl stitches for the back loop, since here the stitches are not twisted. We knit 15 purl stitches and turn the work. We move on to the 9th row. In the 9th row, we transfer these 15 stitches to the right needle without knitting. We have transferred them, and now find the working yarn. Here it is right here. We knit with the main color in knit stitches for the back loop. This is our 9th row. We continue to the contrasting yarn. In the 9th row, from the side marker, we knit 21 stitches. Then, 17 stitches in beige color, and 17 stitches in burgundy color. Crossing the yarns and starting to knit 17 stitches in burgundy. We knitted 17 knit stitches for the front loop, 17 stitches, and we turn the work. We move on to the 10th row. Here, all 17 stitches are transferred to the right needle without knitting, as we always do at the start of each row. We have transferred them, and now we knit purl stitches again to our contrasting yarn. Here we finish in the 10th row. Ahead, we knit 21 stitches, then 16 stitches in the main color, and 19 stitches for the heart. From my side marker, 21 stitches, then 16, and 19 heart stitches need to be knitted. Crossing the yarns. And we knit the first stitch in burgundy color. Always pull it tightly. The 19th stitch is knitted for the back loop. All purls are finished. We finished 19, completed the 10th row, and turned the work. Here is the 11th row. The start, that is, each row, begins after we turn the work. At the beginning of each row, we transfer the knitted heart stitches to the right needle without knitting. And while crossing the yarns, we check the tension. Well, we pull a bit more, so the stitches aren't stretched along the edges. This way, we keep knitting. I start with the 11th row. I think I have knitted 10 rows together with you. You should understand everything. If not, ask questions in the comments, we will figure it out. But for now, we continue knitting according to the pattern. From the 11th row onward, We knit until we have a division of the fabric into front and back. We knit up to the area of our armpits and we'll meet you in the next third part, where we will divide the fabric into the front and back and work the intarsia in reverse rows. Bye bye.